Live, dedicated to making you a better fisherman. Proudly brought to you by our sponsors: The Boat Shop, 3J's Four-Way, Pride Rods, Keith's Toledo Bend Tackle, The Lakes Insurance Agency, V&M Baits. Now on to your hosts, Ranger Daiwa Pro Staff Steve Graff and V&M Baits President Kevin Jean.
Welcome to another edition of Tackle Talk Live, right here on the banks of Sibley Lake in northwest Louisiana, Natchitoches, Louisiana to be specific. And Kevin, we're going to talk about just across the state line over there, a little place called Sam Rayburn. Been a few fish caught over this past weekend.
Yeah, I feel like the lake is still vibrating from all the rattle traps being thrown yesterday. You know, Outlaw Outdoors Rattle Trap had 329 teams in the rattle trap tournament yesterday, and you know those fish are still hearing those vibrations go by their head.
If somebody asked me today, what would you advise that I throw at Sam Rayburn Day? Throw something that doesn't rattle. Anything that doesn't rattle. I think you probably would catch some fish because, those fish are probably in shock over there. But anyway, we're going to talk to the winners of that event. One of the winners of the team, it was Cory Rambo and his partner,
Rusty Clark.
And we're going to talk to Cory and get his perspective as to how they caught their big sack of fish and won this. And it was actually not just a good turnout. The weights were really good. They caught a lot of people caught, I think took 15 something to finish and to get a check. So it's the weights were up a little bit. So hopefully the bite was good. And I will say this, the water's going to warm up this week. This week our lows are in the 50s and our highs are in the 70s during the week. So this could be a good week. By the end of this week, it might be pretty darn good on some of these bodies of water. The water's going to warm up just a tad, and that should turn these fish on a little bit.
No, I think it definitely will. I think this week's going to be a big week for all the lakes, in this part of the country. But talking about Cory, we're going to talk about the rattle trap tournament, but there's a lot of things I want to jump into with Cory. The success they've had this year, but not only this year, the past 5-6 years on Rayburn, just by far the most consistent team out there, other than maybe Albert and Clayton they're in that group right there. But the consistency they've had on Rayburn over the past several years, just kind of jump into that. Also talk about the Toyota series that's coming up on Rayburn here in a couple weeks. Kind of jump into that with him, kind of talk some weights, kind of everybody's do's and don'ts and what they're going to be doing. So a lot of stuff to cover with Cory, and excited to get him on. Yeah,
and we're also going to talk about at the end of this broadcast a little bit about the ABA 150 Solo Tour. It's a brand new tour. Only the first 150 guys that get in will get in this event. They're fishing for $20,000. We're going to get into more detail about that. The first one's on Toledo Bend, February 5th and 6th, which is coming up in a couple of weeks. So we'll get into that as well. But real quick, we've got some great sponsors that we want to recognize, and before we get to Cory Rambo.
Yes, sir. The Boat Shop. Mr. Raymond Kidd and his staff take great pride in keeping your boat and motor performing at its best. A certified Yamaha and Garmin and a full support Garmin dealer offering the best in electronics and the new Garmin trolling motor. Stop by 2410 Sanford Avenue in Shreveport and let the Boat Shop take care of all your boating needs, or you can give them a call at 318-402-0399 or go to ShreveportBoatShop.com.
And over there at 3J's Four-Way Cypress Knee Outdoors is another place that I'd like to invite you to stop by, see John Abraham, the owner, and his great staff of guys there that will help put you on whatever the latest and greatest tackle is. If you're a hunter, they've got ammo. They got shotgun shells for all you duck hunters. Of course, we're kind of getting out of that season now, but still, if you're looking for anything hunting or fishing, crappie season is here. A lot of crappie guys, Sibley Lake right now has got 7 or 8 boats out there fishing for crappie. They must be catching them or they wouldn't be out there all day. But he's got a great selection of crappie gear, crappie baits as well that you can stop by there. And also they got an awesome deli. If you're looking for something to eat for lunch while you're on the road, they got great food. But it's a great location. If you need your fishing license, it's getting that time. Don't forget your fishing license. Make sure you got that. If not, you can get that at Cypress Knee Outdoors as well. So stop by. It's just off exit 127 east of I-49. So stop by in there. It's only about a mile off the interstate. It's real close if you're headed for Toledo Bend, Sam Rayburn, you might coming from South Louisiana. Hey, stop in there. It's a great place. Good midway point to stop and get you a snack and stock up on some tackle as well. All right.
Pride Rods, American made and custom built in Montgomery, Texas. The finest rods ever made by Mr. Billy Kistler. Constructed with the finest North Fork composite blank by Mr. Gary Loomis. They carry all your freshwater and saltwater applications for spinning and casting rods. Stop by your local tackle store and pick one up, or simply ask about Pride Rods. You can also go online at priderods.com or call 832-418-6040.
And Keith's Toledo Bend Tackle. And by the way, we're going to have Keith on here in just a little bit. Talk about just a little bit about Toledo Bend. Talk about bait and tackle a little bit. Had a phone call this morning from a buddy of mine that, hey, I can't find things, man. Well, we're going to talk a little. We're going to dive into that a little bit, along with Kevin's knowledge of what's going on in the industry. We'll have Keith on from a tackle dealer perspective and get his perspective, as well as maybe talking about a little bass fishing, what's going on Toledo Bend as well. So if you're looking for some great tackle, go to 6302 State Highway 21 east of Hemp Hill. It's right across the Pendleton Bridge on the Toledo Bend. Stop in for the latest fishing report, shop for all the right tackle. Make your trip to Toledo Bend or Sam Rayburn a success. They'll have everything you need, whether your trip calls for bass fishing, white perch tackle, catfish bait, the ultimate fighting shiner. Keith has you covered. So stop in there and let them take care of whatever fishing needs you got.
And last but not least, the Lakes Insurance Agency is an independent insurance agency that has been taking care of Texans' insurance needs for 25 plus years, offering auto, homeowners, boat, recreational vehicle, life, health, and commercial insurance.
Hold on one second.
The owner, Clark Moore, is a local guide and tournament angler who understands your insurance needs, and a boat owner who wants to be your go-to guy for all your insurance needs. Give him for a free quote, give him a call at 936-205-4467 or stop by 805 Southeast Stallings Suite 3 in Nacogdoches, Texas.
There we go. And so, again, thank you for all those fine sponsors that we have. We cannot say thank you enough. Without you guys, we don't get to do what we do every week. So thank you very much. On the phone, we have one of the team members of Rambo and Clark. We've got Cory Rambo on with us. And, of course, Cory and Rusty are no strangers to the winner circle, for sure not as far as collecting checks off Sam Rayburn. They won this event with 25-52. This past Saturday, and congratulations. Or was it Sunday?
Sunday. It was yesterday.
Sunday, yeah, it was actually Sunday. And they had a big kicker of a 778, and which was not big fish for the event, but still a heck of a kicker. So congratulations, Cory. Cory, give us a little detail. Tell us exact locations. We want GPS coordinates, everything that you can tell us.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you now.
Okay. It switched to my truck. Sorry.
It's all right. Can you get us off speaker?
Do what?
Can you get us off speaker?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. We got you now, Cory.
All right.
Cory, let's just talk a little bit about yesterday, man. Kind of go through the day. You know, main question is, did y'all have one drain that was loaded? Was y'all able to kind of run around and catch these fish, in different spots? Just how did the day go?
Well, so we kind of started out in a drain, and there was another competitor in that drain. So we kind of fished in there, and it, so we just said, well, hey, let's go to the next spot. So we went to the next spot. We actually fished in that first drain. I caught one that's 14 and a half inches. It wasn't much, but as a start, we went to probably 3 different areas that we've been fishing, and it was like nothing. Then we went, Rusty fished Friday and caught like 5.5, 6 pounder in this one little spot. And so we pulled up there, there's a boat sitting there, so we just kind of fished around, and he fished on, and then we got lined up, and Rusty caught our big fish. It was a 778.
Yeah.
There, and this was probably 9:30, 10ish. And so at that time we had 2 fish. So then we went to another area that we've been catching them, and we just fished around, and I caught like a 3 3/4, 4 pounder somewhere in there. So we had 3, and then at about 11 o'clock we hit a little flurry, and I think we caught Rusty caught another 5 pounder, and I think around a 4 pounder. And so then we felt like we were sitting pretty good. We still had a little one that we needed to get rid of, and it was tough. We caught a few small fish in the mix, and we called on that little one, 3 or 4 times. But we knew we needed one more good one, and right there towards the end of the day, Rusty caught 2 4-pounders back to back.
Oh wow!
So, I was net boy this weekend, and Rusty caught him out of the back of the boat, but you always have those tournaments. It might be something a little bit different with the bait. It might be something a little bit different the way you're fishing it.
Yeah.
Y'all know how it goes. There's plenty of tournaments where I catch all 5 of them. There's tournaments where Rusty catches all 5 of them. And that's what's exciting to us about a team tournament, because you're just as excited to get the net than you are set the hook on them. It's a team deal, and we've always worked really, really well together. We do fish different, but the same. So I always tell people we're not always around winning fish, but we're going to figure out how to catch the fish that we're around.
Yeah.
And when you're limited to one bait, we knew which bait we were going to throw.
Now,
we knew which color we've been throwing in.
Now that was Corey. Now let me stop you right there, because that was my next question. Is I know you said to Clint on your interview afterwards you caught him on the 1/2 ounce retro red. Was that all y'all threw all day? I mean, I know Rattle Trap. I mean, they now make the MR6 crankbait. They make a square bill now. I mean, y'all threw the 1/2 ounce retro red all day.
That's the only bait we tied on.
Gotcha.
Wow.
Now Rusty had. That's the only one bait that I tied on, and that now Rusty he brought 3 trap rods with him. Whenever you're not fishing in your boat, you got to be a little prepared. And he had 3 different ones tied on, but that red one is the only one that he threw all day long.
Wow.
Gotcha.
Wow.
I mean, that's what we do. We throw red traps. I mean, of course, it's nobody knows it. I mean, we even got a color that's named after us, and
Yeah.
I feel like it's pretty similar to that retro red.
Yeah, I mean they're almost identical for sure. So y'all kind of caught them all throughout the day. It ain't like you had one drain you pulled up in.
But we've had several stretches throughout the day where you go an hour before you get a bite.
Yeah.
But when they did bite, it was little flurries.
Yeah.
Right. Now, so there's 329 rattle trap teams, Corey.
Yeah.
So that we know there's 1 to 2 boats in every pocket and every drain. So mentally, and this is me getting just your insight here. How do you handle that? I mean, y'all caught fish all throughout the day. How do you handle that throughout the day? Just knowing everybody around you's throwing a rattle trap, and most of them's throwing a red
Everybody
rattle
on the
trap.
lake's throwing a trap.
Right. So that's where your mental. That's where it's all mental. So like other people's get spun out when they got a bunch of people around them. Somebody's sitting on the best spot and they're sitting on the juice, and what I feel like we have the mentality that we don't worry about going behind people. We don't worry about all the minor stuff. And Rusty has taught me that over the years, because I've always had the knack for being able to find them, but in my earlier years, I would spin out. That stuff would bother me, and Rusty's taught me that they can't catch them anyway. They're just in the way right now. Just hold on, hold your horses.
Yeah.
And it's worked for us.
Yeah.
Did you, Corey, did you try to get away from people? Like, a lot of people don't want to run up past 103 because it's just so far up there. But did you try to make long run to get away from people?
Now I fish around boats all day long.
Yeah. And what about the water depth? I mean, obviously it's a trap bite, but there are some guys that I know are throwing the bigger, heavier traps out in 15 foot of water and yo-yoing them and doing different techniques.
So now we fish shallow drains all day long. Our boat's sitting in 6 to 9 foot of water. And we would start off out in the mouth of the drains, and we would fish the edges of the drain. We would, and work our way in them. We just kept our head down and fished hard. Some of the fish we caught in the very backs of the drains. I think one of the 5-pounders come in the very backs of the drains. Maybe two, or a 4-pounder and a 5-pounder. I can't remember. Some of them come halfway in the drains. I mean, it's just there's no really rhyme or reason of where they're sitting. It's just there's an art to throwing that trap. You got to keep contact with that grass, and that's key. So you're understanding the grass and understanding your bait and keeping it where it needs to be the longest you can throughout a cast is key in catching them.
Corey, a lot of guys like to throw 8 to 1. I throw 8 to 1 a lot. Were you throwing high speed reels, 7.3 to 1? What were you doing?
So right now we're throwing our entire setup there. So we're throwing a Cara 7.3 heavy for a rod, which it's got a little bit of tip to it, but it's really a stiff rod. Mm-hmm. And that allows you to clean that bait when it gets bogged down.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when you clean that bait right, it creates a reaction strike.
Exactly.
So our line, we're throwing 16-pound test Gamma.
Mm-hmm. No braid. No braid.
We're throwing 16-pound test Gamma fluorocarbon. We're throwing a dye with Steez A 7 gear ratio.
Yeah.
So
$5.
if you fish an 8 to 1 reel, you can't slow it down right.
Yeah,
right.
I like this. I like the 7.0. Now your rod is what kind of you're throwing a heavy action rod. So it's not, you're not having to rip it as hard out of the grass.
No, that's what allows us to slow roll that thing down in that grass, and when you feel it ticking it and it bogs up, you just pop your rod a little bit and it frees it because you don't have all that give. You don't have to pull on it hard.
You're not working near as hard.
Right.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, Corey, let me ask you this, because y'all been fishing every weekend, and I think I know winning money every weekend. How is the lake setting up here? How compared to the past weekends? How's the fish setting up? What are we getting into here as we come late January?
All right. So what we're seeing, we kind of knew that, kept our fingers crossed the way the grass was this year from years back. Me and Rusty are trap fishermen. Everybody knows we throw a Carolina rig, we throw a trap, we throw a frog, and we flip, and that's just we're pretty much power fishermen. There's very few times where we fish deeper than 15 foot. We can catch them out there if we have to. We've done it before, but over the years, I mean, we're pretty much shallow fishermen.
Cool.
So what's going on right now to us is that the way everything's setting up with the grass, we feel like if you look back over the past 5 weeks, we've had 5 tournaments. I think we won the Valero tournament.
Yeah.
That was with 19 pounds. I think we had 18 and a half pounds in the Keith Nabours coming 10th. Then we had 18 something, I want to say, in the Outlaw, and come in 4th coming fourth in it, and then we had this one where we busted them.
Do you feel like more fish is coming to you, Corey?
I do. So with my 360, I watched them swim up the drains all day.
Yeah.
I could see them, the big ones swimming up the drains with the 360, and so I know they're starting to come. You're coming up on a full moon. The big ones are starting to move in.
Yeah.
I know from what I heard through practice and this and that, the deep guys are starting to struggle a little bit out there.
Yeah.
And that's because the big ones are starting to pull up. Now, through the next couple months, you're going to have different waves of them fish coming in. So there will still be some deep stuff that the fish are setting up on, but I personally feel we're getting in the heart of trap season now. I think it's really fixing to get good.
What was the
I thought it was starting to go away because it got really tough to get bit. But
Yeah.
I think it's with that rise in water and it really getting cold. The fish are there. They just didn't want to bite.
What about water temperature?
Man, if it's in the low 50s, I'm throwing a trap. I mean, even in the high 40s.
What was it this weekend? What was it yesterday?
Yeah, what was the water temperature yesterday?
It was 50.2 when we started.
Oh, okay. And see, this week, Corey, is a warming trend this week. It only gets in the 50s at night and the 70s during the day. So this weekend could be really good.
It could be phenomenal.
Yeah, it really could.
Are you, Corey,
As long as that water don't get over 60 degrees, in my mind.
Ooh,
Yeah.
then we go look at them. But anyway, that's a different story.
Exactly. That's
So,
another
Corey,
show.
and I know y'all don't fish a lot of individual stuff just because y'all are so particular about your team, your team stuff. Are you going to fish the Toyota event?
No, I am not. It's just kind of one of them deals where my schedule's full.
Yeah.
I don't have a weekend off till May.
Yeah.
For the simple fact now, not only do me and Rusty fish bass champs, and we'll jackcocks and the team trails. We fish the outlaw team. We fish the outlaw
Sweet 16.
Sweet 16. We feel like those are the trails to be fishing.
Absolutely.
And not to mention, you throw in the rattle trap and the Valero and all that. Well, now I got a son that fishes high school tournaments. Last year, they were fortunate enough to win Angler of the Year in the Southeast Texas as 8th graders.
Right.
So now there's two trails that there's a Texas Elite and a Southeast Texas, so they're going to be competing in both of them trails. And you throw all of my and Rusty's team stuff in, and I don't have time to even think about it.
Right. No, I understanding. I think the lake's going to really set up well for that Toyota event.
Yeah. Corey, we appreciate it, man. Thank you for your time, and congratulations on a good win. And we'll be over there. I'll start coming up over there next week. Kevin's gonna start coming. He gotta get a boat first.
Yeah, I gotta get a
boat.
boat.
But I'm fixing to hit the water, so looking forward to seeing you guys over there. And again, thank you, man. Appreciate you.
Well, hey, not a problem at all. Just remember, if anybody's ever got any kind of questions, you can reach me on Facebook. Best way to do is come in the stores. We have two Rambo outdoor locations, one in Beaumont, one in Orange. I'm usually there at different ones throughout the week, and I sit down one-on-one. People come in with questions, and I work with them and help them and get them to try to understand fishing. So people are more than welcome to come in and talk.
Sure.
All right.
Will do, Corey. Appreciate you coming on,
Thank
man.
you, man.
Thank y'all very much.
Corey Rambo, Rambo Outdoors, and thank Corey for coming on with us. And real quick,
Two really nice locations, by the way. He's got that one in Orange and one off Beaumont right there. And anything you want, him and Martin, going together with that thing, anything you want, fishing spots, they've got it.
Yeah, and got a great selection of V&M products.
They do that.
Yeah, there you go. And kind of recapping this, the Rattle Trap tournament, Philip Criella. Crulia and TJ Goodwin. They finished second with 24.96, less than a pound. They had a 7.13 kicker. Jordan Bro and Brad Hillebrandt finished third with 20.44. Oscar Langle and Sean Langle, they finished fourth with 19.02. Clint Taylor, Ray Hillhouse, they finished 5th with 1901. Just looking down the list here, you had to get a check. You had to catch at least 12.57 pounds. That was the last check given out. That was Trey Ellis and Kirk Lalou. Both those guys. And then you had a lot of guys that, like I said, in between that 12 and 13, 14 pounds, a bunch of those. And so if you got to 15, you kind of separated yourself from that 15, 16 pound on up. That was kind of the break mark as far as getting in the better money. And so, again, 329 guys fished this event, which it's just a great tournament. All you do is going to throw one bait. I mean, that's all you're going to do. And, I mean, it's just a heck of a way to go fishing. You ain't got to bring your jig rods. You ain't got to bring your worm. You ain't got to bring your spinner bait. You ain't got to bring no chatterbaits. You just tie on a rattle trap and you go fishing. I think it's one of the best deals. I wish we'd see more tournaments like this where maybe you got to throw a jig or you got to throw a top water all day. I like these kind of events, and I think they're really cool.
And now on the phone, the owner of Keith's Toledo Bend Tackle himself, Mr. Keith Nabours. Keith, you with us?
Yeah. Good morning.
Hey, Keith. How you doing, man?
Doing good, man.
All right, I think we got you there. You try it one more time, Keith. You there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Okay, we're good.
Yeah,
now.
are you on speakerphone?
Yeah.
Yeah, take
Can you
us
hear
off.
me now?
Yeah, we got you
Take us
now.
off speaker. That don't come in good.
Well, first of all, Keith, we want to say congratulations. And we know Saturday, I believe it was, you celebrated your 5th anniversary of Keith's Toledo Bend Tackle over there at your shop. So congratulations there. Do we still have Keith? Keith.
Keith, you there?
Sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now we got you good.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I hear y'all fine.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
Well, congratulations, 5 years. Let me ask you this: from when you started, and I know Tommy Martin had a lot to do with talking you into doing this. When you started 5 years ago, did you ever think you would be where you're at now?
I thought I'd do good, but I didn't think I would do what I've done.
Yeah.
But I worked extra. I put in a lot of long hours, and I hate empty pegs, and I try to keep the store full year round, you know.
Well, and Keith, that as an angler, and I've been in your store a lot of times, and that's the one thing. You just hit the nail on the head. Empty pegs frustrate anglers probably as much as they frustrate a dealer, but empty pegs also means things are selling, which is a good thing.
Well, under normal circumstances, I hardly have any empty pegs, you know. But this last year with the COVID, it was pretty crazy because so many people fished that hadn't fished, and you know, you could only do outdoor activities. So this last year was really trying on us to keep it full.
Are you anticipating kind of the same thing, Keith, for 2021? Which again, we're not out of the pandemic; we're still in that mess. So, do you think it's going to carry over?
I think it's going to continue to carry over. I really do.
Yeah.
Keith,
Because you still can't
Keith,
can't go on cruises, and there's so much stuff you still can't go do on vacation, you know.
Yeah.
Keith, we know it's been kind of slow around there, Toledo Bend, as far as tournament actions coming up, but coming up February, we've got a really busy tournament schedule over there. Kind of give us a little report on what you're hearing and people coming in and out on the lake. Kind of give us a little fishing report.
Well, as of right now, you know, I'm reporting on 5X's and 6XDs and some drop shot, and then you can catch a few on spoons, but overall, it's still tough right now. It's tough.
Yeah, and Keith, why, Toledo Bend and Sam Rayburn, as the crow flies, they're not probably 30 miles apart as the crow flies. What do you think the biggest difference, and why is one body of water fish so much different than the other one?
Well, right now, I think it's because of the grass. I actually think we got just as many fish as Rayburn. But these fish stay suspended, and we got so much bait fish.
Yeah.
I mean, you can launch and go run your grass, and you see 3 times more bait fish here on Toledo than you do on Rayburn.
Yeah.
And I think these fish with no grass and stuff, they just roaming like a pack of wolves, and And wherever the bait fish goes that day, they go and they stay suspended. And you know, suspended fish are about the hardest fish that you can learn how to catch.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if there's plenty of bait, they're probably out there gorging themselves, and it makes them harder to catch when they're full.
But you look you wait first the March gets here, they're catching by the truckloads out of here.
I was fixing to ask you, Keith, how is this going to set up come March, April? And I'm going to give you my opinion, and you can kind of go off of that. So once these fish, and I agree with you, I think Toledo has plenty of fish. But they're off out there roaming everywhere. A fella might go out on the end of a point or something one day and catch a good stringer. He's not doing it on day 2 or the next day because them fish are gone. They're chasing. All they're doing is chasing. But when these fish come to the bank, when these fish make a hard move, I think for about 3 to 4 weeks there's nothing up there. There's no grass. There a few stumps and stuff, of course, but I think for about 3 to 4 weeks, when them fish make a hard push, people are going to catch the absolute fire out of them.
The last 2 springs has been that way. That's not having no grass. When they make that push, I mean, they catch all. You catch all you want, you know.
Yeah. Yep.
And but you know, with no grass or nothing, they just stay suspended and home. And I get guys coming here and they catch a big sack like you talked about off the end of a point, and they go back every day for 2 weeks, and bam, finally they're there. But it's a timing deal. They just happen to be there.
Yeah.
With the bait fish, you know.
So right now,
do you find anybody that's catching them 2 or 3 days in a row off of one point? You know.
Yeah. So right now, your best advice would be you need to be on the move. Hit spots and move on. Hit a spot and move on. Cover water.
Cover water, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, Keith, like I said, we got a busy February coming. We got that ABA Solo 150 coming up first week of February. The very next week, which I hate that they do this, they have Champs and BFL on the same weekend. And there's some at the end of February on Toledo as well.
You got that Southeast Texas High School coming here. This usually draws 350 teams or so.
Oh, my gosh.
So, yeah. Keith, we got a good February on Toledo, but what do we got to do for these tournaments that we used to have on Toledo? Like this year, Texas Team Trail's not even coming back. Bass Champs is actually coming twice this year, but we've lost a lot of tournaments. Toledo's been down the last couple of years. As locals, and me, I'm considering me and Steve locals here being 45 minutes east of you. What do we got to do to get these big tournaments back?
Kevin, I want to answer that. You know, everybody's just they have a fishing Raven right now, and I think that's part of the reason. You know, because generally, even Raven fishing tough, you can go over and get a few bites, but I don't know what we got to do to.
Yeah.
You know, if the grass would come back, that would sure enough help.
Yeah, that's definitely a key. I think that is the key, Keith, is the grass coming back. You know, again, like nothing's worse. No group of people whine more than bass fishermen. When they're not catching fish, they're gonna whine and they're gonna go to these tournament directors and say, "Man, don't go there. Don't go to Toledo Bend. We can't catch fish. You know, don't go to Red River. We can't catch fish." I'm just like, good gosh, stop your whining and just wet a hook and let's go. But you know,
well, that's me. You know, I mean, if it's tough, it's gonna be tough on everybody.
Exactly. Yep.
You know,
I agree. And but you know, Keith, you being in a good location there, you get a little residual effect from Sam Rayburn as well. I mean, you got people that are probably going to Rayburn or on their way. They'll stop in there. It's not just Toledo Bend fishermen. You're pulling in.
I sold so many rattle traps this past week. It was unreal. You know.
Yeah.
You know, pretty much everybody over here fishes everything in Rayburn, but everybody at Rayburn don't fish everything we have over here.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I think they're scared of the locals here, Keith. I think they're scared.
No, I don't think that.
Hey, but Keith, you are fishing the Toyota event coming up on Sam Rayburn here in a couple weeks. I know you kind of bit the bullet, started fishing. You fished the Open last year on Rayburn. You fished the Toyota event over there as well. I know you got a check in the Toyota. You make sure we all know that. But you got the Toyota coming up here in a couple weeks. How you feeling about that?
Well, boy, if I don't do no better than we done in that rattle trap tournament yet, I'm going to be in trouble.
Well, but you was held back yesterday. I mean, you had Ben Matsubu in the back of your boat, so
that's
you were
held
down
right there.
You were held down a little bit yesterday.
Well, Well, hang on now. Got 4 keepers yesterday, and Ben caught all 4 of them over there. It was
Oh,
amazing.
okay. Maybe you must have been the problem.
I had to been the problem yesterday.
Well, Keith,
But
another.
it's the weather forecast for the next 10, 12 days. It's going to warm up every day, and I look later the time we get there, it's going to be a flooded. They're going to catch a lot of fish in Toledo Bend.
Yeah, I think the weather is setting up for the Toyota Series to be just a plain out whack fest over there.
Keith, I had a guy call me this morning, and he was complaining about, and it wasn't necessarily about your place. He's a North Louisiana guy from Shreveport, talking about how hard it is to find product. And, you know, as a dealer yourself, I know what you went through last year. Kevin being the president for V&M Baits, I know what he's gone through just trying to get. Is there a certain product that you're having a hard time getting right now?
You know, really, I can't get no Shimano reels, and can't get no loose combos. You know, we sell a lot of them to the weekend fishermen. And then we still certain colors in zone, but pretty much everybody else is caught up and pretty much got stopped. But when you get all these convenience stores and these smaller stores that don't sell nothing through the winter, and they start back in about 30 days, stopping back up, and there's going to be a lot of products out that think that it's going to be hard to get again.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I'm getting about anything I want right now. You know, like I say, a few items.
Yeah. But as these tournaments start to kick off, especially when these high school events and the Toyota Series and the pressure's fixed, you're just now fixing to start seeing a lot of pressure on both bodies of water, Rayburn and Toledo.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I know from the manufacturing side, everybody's starting to get caught up right now and getting orders out, but we all know the sales is fixed to start happening again, and I'm worried that it's going to happen again. The manufacturer's just going to get overwhelmed again, and I think about April, May, it's going to get hard to find stuff again.
Yeah.
Well, the big issue is, you know, normally March is our month for the whole year. Our biggest month of the whole year. And May, June, and July sales were bigger than March.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Wow.
Last year.
Wow.
And that's just, actually July ended up being the biggest month of the year, but I think it was because we had big bass splash here.
Right.
You know, but still, it was crazy. It was crazy last year. And I think it'll happen this year. I don't know if it'll be as crazy. If people got the money to be as crazy.
Yep.
You know, there's nowhere for them to go on vacation. They don't come to the lake.
Yeah. I agree.
Well, Keith, man, we appreciate you. Thank you for your time. We appreciate you talking to us about what's going on over at Toledo Bend. And again, by the way, we definitely appreciate you. You sponsoring Tackle Talk Live. We can't say thank you enough, buddy. And we really do appreciate it.
All right, I appreciate y'all having me on today.
All right.
Mr. Keith Nabours. And if you've never been by Keith's Toledo Bend Tackle, he's got it. I promise you. Is there something you need for Toledo Bend or Sam Rayburn, stop by. Him or Ben will be there. Make sure to say hi. Make sure to tell him we sent you. But it's a place that if you need it, he's got it.
Yeah, he really does. And moving on here, we're going to get into our schedule, what's coming up for really over the next 2 weeks. A lot going on over the next 2 weeks. Some big events coming up. Number one, January 23rd, which is next weekend, Outlaw Team Series number 1. The event number 1 will be taking place at Sam Rayburn.
Guaranteeing $10,000.
$10,000 first place. January 23rd, Bayou Outdoors Boat Show Tournament. That'll be a 2-fish tournament. Mike Eccles will be tournament director as usual for this event. And I believe, and I'll find out more this week, I believe Teague Boat Ramp in Shreveport or Bossier will be the weigh-in site for this event. Registration will be the night before on Friday night at Bayou Outdoor Supercenter. One team member must be present for that meeting. So there's no virtual. You actually go to Bayou Outdoor Supercenter in Bossier City and be there for the meeting. They'll lay out the rules. And then the next day, I think you can fish up to probably 10 bodies of water. There's not hardly any body of water in this region that's not covered on that. So, but next week I'll try to have more details for you for that event, exactly how it's going down and where you have to be for the weigh-in. So And then after that, Kevin?
January 28th through the 30th is the Toyota Series there on Sam Rayburn. Busy weekend that weekend. So you got Thursday, Friday, Saturday Toyota Series. The 30th is the ABA out of Umphrey Pavilion. And then the 31st, that Sunday, is the Outlaw Outdoors Sweet 16 event over on Rayburn. So busy weekend that weekend on Rayburn.
Yes, and in conjunction with the 28 with the Toyota Series, it's going to be the ABA Open Series. South Texas Division will be also taking place on the 30th, that Saturday. And so it's going to be a little crowded, guys, just letting you know. It's going to just, hey, it is what it is. Just go out there, wet a hook. Be courteous to the guys. Try not to cut each other off. Be nice to each other, because, again, it's going to be another crowded season, especially on Sam Rayburn, Kevin.
Yeah.
So
then February 6th, we finally kicked things off Toledo Bend, the ABA Solo 150, guaranteeing first place $20,000 with an entry of $600. It'll be their first event of the year right there at Toledo Bend. Second event will be in the end of March on Rayburn. And then first week of May is Lakeview Fall in Oklahoma.
Yeah, and we want to kind of bring this up a little bit, that they do have openings. They're only going to take the first 150 anglers that sign up. There are a few openings still left. Please, if you're looking to fish something new, something great, something different than paying $1,800 to go fish a 3-day event, you want to fish a 2-day event for $600, less than half the price, for $20,000. What a great opportunity! Commend ABA and Chris Wayan and his guys put this together, and so looking forward to fishing this. I think it's going to be a great circuit. Yes, they are on top of the Toyota Series for the last 2 events, but next year, and it's because they were so late putting the schedule together that he didn't have any choice. But next year, he will have choices, and he's going to try to avoid that, so which will do nothing but increase the number of people, because that's the series is kind of, that's where the anglers are that would want to fish something like this. That's where a lot of them are at. And I understand the commitment to the Toyota Series, been there and done that. I understand it fully. So, but if you're looking to fish something new, something different, the ABA 150 Solo Tour is a great opportunity. You don't have to worry about a co-angler. You don't have to have a co-angler to sign up. You just sign up and go fishing. And it should be a great event. It's going to be out of Cypress Bend Park, February 5th and 6th.
I think that does it for the day. Kind of wraps us up. Again, congrats to Cory Rambo, Rusty Clark. Philip Crillia, TJ Goodwin finished second. They had 24 pounds. That stuff, that hurts.
Yeah.
Because third place was 20. Yeah. So you had first and second was right there, and then it falls all the way off. So Philip and them had a chance to win it. They were leading until Cory and Rusty kind of came up and burst their bubble a little bit. So congratulations to them. Still a great bag. And I know congrats to all the Outlaw Outdoors crew for pulling off that 329 team event.
Yeah, biggest event so far.
Biggest rattle trap, and biggest event this year, biggest rattle trap event ever. So congratulations to all of them.
Yeah. And again, all of our sponsors, we can't say thank you enough. The Boat Shop, 3J's, 4-Way Cypress and Outdoors, Pride Rods, Keith's Toledo Bend Tackle, and the Lake Insurance Agency. Again, thank you one and all. That's it. That's it for today's show. We appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate everybody that tuned in today. Continue to spread the word. Make sure you subscribe, and that way you'll get notifications when our next show is going to air. But again, if you want to continue to catch more fish and be a better angler, you got to watch Tackle Talk Live. Thank you.